This tutorial video is about views. Views allow you to separate the pieces of the diagram, the people on the diagram, into separate groups and narrow your focus into one area, or rearrange the diagram, kind of like a PowerPoint slide. For example, for this simple family on the diagram, I might want to show just this husband's family of origin and temporarily hide these people without losing the fact that they're there, all the events I have added for them, all the data. So to do that, I'm going to go to the search panel here, because that's where I get the main list of views. I'm going to add a view to the diagram by clicking this Add button. I'm going to double click on the title because the default title is View 1. And I'm going to call it Husband's Family of Origin. And then I'm going to hit Enter. Then what I'm going to do is select all the people I want to be in the view. Go click this Inspect button that's over the diagram. There are other Inspect buttons in the app. This Inspect button is over the diagram, which means it pertains to whoever is selected here. Right now I have 3 people selected. That's what it says here at the top, 3 people. So now any changes that I make in any of these fields here will be written onto all 3 people. For example, let's call them all Smith. Let's give them all the same last name. So now they all got the last name Smith. Okay. But I just want to add them all to a view. So similarly, I'm going to go into the views, and still with this property sheet up for these 3 people, I'm going to just check the box here for this view I added. Diagram views this person or persons is added to. So I'm going to check that box. So now all of these 3 people are added to that view. Now if I go to search and click active for husband's family of origin, it's going to activate that view and only show those people. Here we go. So now it's hidden the other 3. Now if I uncheck it, it's going to go back to the default. So this is just one way that you can filter out what you're seeing in the diagram. So as an example, let's add another one. Let's add one for the wife's family of origin. So the first thing I'm going to do, it's the same process. I'm going to add in a new view by clicking the Add button, double click the name, wife's family of origin, and then I'm going to select all the people I want to add to the view, click the Inspect button, again, this Inspect button in particular. Then I'm going to go down to Views for these 3 people right at the top. Now I know what I'm editing. It says 3 people, and I'm going to click Wife's Family of Origin because I want them all added to this view. So now if I go back to search, I'll have these 2 views here, and now I can search by either one. If I just want to show the husband's, I just click the husband's one, make sure that's the only one that's active. If I want to click the wife's, I will see only the wife's. I will see only the people added to this view here. Now, just for an example, let's add another one. Let's add one for just this generation. So, same process. Parents only. Something like that. Add one there, give it a name. Going to pick all these people like this. Going to click Inspect. go down to views, click parents only. So you'll notice that these checkboxes they kind of look checked. They're actually partially checked. The reason for that is that we've got these 4 people selected. It shows you that here at the top. And what that means is that some of these 4 people are added to this tag, husband's family of origin. Some of them are added to the wife's family of origin. For example, only these 2 are added to the wife's family of origin, and only these 2 are added to the husband's family of origin view. And that's why they're dim like that. So if I were to click wife's family of origin now, it would add all 4 of those people to that view as well, which is not what we want. The only reason I'm explaining this is so that you understand how these checkboxes work when there's more than one person selected. But anyway, we've got this completely selected because it's solid blue, because we've added all 4 of those people to parents only. So I added a third one just to show how you can cycle through them one at a time. So let's pick the first one, husband's family of origin. That's kind of like a PowerPoint slide, so then you can talk about these, or you can show a particular emotional process sequence through those. Then if I click this button here for next view, it's a shortcut to be able to click this box for me. It jumps to the next view like that. That's kind of like next slide in PowerPoint. Then if I click it again, it'll move on to the parents only view that we just set up. Then if I click the reset here, of course it goes back to the beginning. So that's the basic idea with views, is that you can add people to different views to be able to focus on a certain group of people. The next thing you can do with views is you can actually get the view to remember any changes you've made to where the people are on the diagram visually. So let's go into husband's family of origin. Click that active again. Now if I pull this out, then it shows store geometry here to each one of these. So let's go ahead and click that for husband's family of origin. Now with this checked, as long as that's checked, if I start moving these people around, it's going to remember the locations, the relative locations. So when I uncheck that active checkbox for that view, it's going to show all the people again, and it's going to move these people back into their locations that they were on the main diagram. So now it looks exactly as it did before. So just to reiterate, if I click active, it's going to show husband's family of origin, but it's also going to remember the locations. That is very useful when you have large diagrams and you want to rearrange them so that you can focus better on what you want to focus on and make and clean the diagram up a bit. So if I only show the wife's family of origin and I start moving people around, but I don't have store geometry selected, it's going to, then that change for this person is going to apply to all the layers that don't have store geometry selected. Really, it's more like it's the default diagram view. So you can see how it doesn't revert back there. So that's something that's important to keep in mind. As a final note, there are 2 extra features here, 2 extra items that you can add to the diagram that only are added to views. They're purely for presentation purposes. So let's go back to the husband's family of origin view. I can add a text call out to this view to add some kind of a note. Because if these are like PowerPoint slides, you want to be able to add some sort of superficial information. This isn't really, it's not necessarily meant to be data about emotional process. It's more just something like, you know, considered the leader by family. It's just a way to add a kind of a sticky note. Now, that again, these two items down here, text call out, and the other one's a pencil drawing that you can add. So I've added this text call out. It's added to whatever view or views are selected here. So it's only in the husband's family of origin. That means that if I click wife's family of origin, it's hidden. That way you can set up PowerPoint slide-like views with different notes on them. So if I click this, this one comes back. It's exactly the way it was when you left it. And there's a little XY shown here to remind you that even though this panel is collapsed and the store geometry checkbox isn't shown, that there are custom locations for these here. The geometry of these objects have been edited. Okay, the second item that you can have is a pencil drawing. And like the text callout, that's only added to the view or views you have that are active here. So if I click to deactivate that view and we go back to the default, that pencil drawing is hidden just like the callout. So that lets you draw other arbitrary notes. I've used them sometimes to show a cutoff between groups of people. I don't use it as often, but I just think it's important to know that it's there. There are other features for views, but those are the main ones. So good luck diagramming your cases.